Social media can both help and hinder investigations. When misused, it spreads misinformation, endangers victims, and disrupts law enforcement efforts. These mislead the public and overwhelm tip lines with irrelevant or false leads. Online sleuths may accuse innocent people or share sensitive details that re-traumatize families. Victims who are later found may face permanent digital exposure, violating their right to privacy. Suspect evasion. Public posts can alert suspects, prompting them to flee or destroy evidence. Trial contamination. Viral content can bias jurors and complicate legal proceedings. Digital vigilantism, doxing, and harassment of perceived suspects or witnesses can derail investigation and cause real-world harm. Law enforcement concerns. Investigators value social media for public alerts and background research, but they warn that unregulated content can undermine trust in official channels, create long-term harm for victims, delay or derail investigations. Speculation becomes a weapon when it replaces evidence with rumor, turning public curiosity into chaos and costing victims their safety, dignity, and justice. How speculation becomes a weapon? Fills the void with fiction. When official updates are slow, social media fills the silence with theories. These often include false timelines, misidentified suspects, and invented motives. In the Idaho student murders, TikTok users falsely accused a professor based on tarot readings, triggering a defamation lawsuit and emotional trauma. Targets the innocent. Online sleuths often name individuals without proof, leading to harassment, threats, and reputational damage. Survivors, witnesses, and family members are frequently miscast as villains, enduring public scrutiny that law enforcement never sanctioned. Derails investigations. Law enforcement must divert resources to debunk viral misinformation. In the Idaho case, police issued public statements to counter large amounts of rumors and misinformation, which delay progress. Destroys presumption of innocence. Viral accusations bias public opinion and potential juries, making fair trials nearly impossible. Speculation creates a digital record that can't be erased, even if someone is cleared later. Weaponizes emotion. Speculative posts often use emotional language, dramatic visuals, or spiritual claims to gain traction. These tactics override logic and due process, turning justice into spectacle. Long-term damage to victims. Permanent digital exposure. Victims of found alive may face lifelong online scrutiny, violating their right to privacy and healing. Emotional re-traumatization. Families are bombarded with theories, accusations, and unsolicited advice, often during the most vulnerable moments. Legal consequences. False claims can lead to lawsuits, arrests, or wrongful convictions, while the real perpetrators escape attention. Secondary victimization from online coverage occurs when victims of crime suffer additional emotional, psychological, or reputational harm due to intrusive, speculative, or insensitive media and social media exposure during active investigations. So what is secondary victimization? Well, essentially it's the additional trauma that crime victims experience. It doesn't come from the crime itself, but rather from the way institutions, media, and the public respond after the facts. And nowadays, a lot of this comes from online coverage, whether it be news articles, social media posts, or viral speculation. Summer Wells' case remains one of the most actively exploited missing child investigations, where law enforcement has repeatedly pleaded with the public to stop using social media for speculation, false tips, and monetized drama. Summer Wells, missing since June 15th, 2021. Age of disappearance, 5 years old. Location, Hawkins County, Tennessee. Status is still missing. No confirmed sightings, no arrests. Leads investigated, over 6,500 tips reviewed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, KBI. Law enforcement pleas. KBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's Office have publicly stated that social media speculation is harming the investigation. False tips, often based on YouTube videos, TikTok theories, or creator drama, have wasted resources, diverted attention, and flooded tip lines. Investigators have asked the public to stop calling in tips based on online content, emphasizing that credible leads must come from verified sources, not speculation. 3. How creators exploit the case. Fabricated narratives, insurance claims, sightings, and abuse arcs invented for engagement. Staged searches. Creators film themselves investigating for views, often trespassing or misleading viewers. Monetized grief. Channels profit from outrage while families are re-traumatized. Drama manufacturing. When interest dips, creators escalate conflict, accuse others, or invent new suspects to keep the cycle alive. JonBenet Ramsey, Madeleine McCann, and the Idaho 4. Summer's case had the it factor. A young child, a rural setting, family contradictions, emotional interviews. These elements attract views, and creators know it. If a case lacks drama, some will manufacture it to force virality. Culminating in a sobering reflection. 3. The cost of spectacle. The investigation is no longer clean. The family is no longer treated. The child is no longer centered. Instead, the case becomes a content engine where speculation is currency and grief is a commodity. In true crime, you've got creators inventing sightings, concocting motives, just pure speculation passed off as content. And guess what? The same thing is happening in the Christian community, with allegations of abuse and betrayal being tossed out without any verification. Building intensity. Oh, well, let's not forget the monetized outrage. In true crime, we've got grief and trauma turning into views, turning into merch. Over in the Christian community, it's family trauma. Live streams, clipped, monetized, it's the same game. And when things get quiet, when the case or the drama simmer down, oh, don't worry. There's always drama manufacturing. Creators will escalate the conflict. They'll stage a fight or amplify an accusation because the show must go on. But here's why it matters, folks. Real people are being harmed. Real investigations are being derailed. Real trauma is being commodified. This isn't just content anymore. It's exploitation. And these tactics are bled right out of courtroom trials into the screens of influencer communities, where, let me tell you, the spectacle never ends. 1. The merchandise marathon. Contradiction. They raise money without rules and refusing to show the totals. A group of creators ran a 24/7 merchandise fundraiser for about 3 weeks. No waivers, no legal oversight, promises were made that can be kept, called out the contradictions, they refused transparency. They only showed what was spent, not what was earned. The courts had to intervene and decide where the money would go. Final ruling, the Children's Advocacy Center received the full $40,365.73. 2. The Billboard drama. Contradiction. They created a scam by pretending there was one. Same group of creators launched a billboard campaign. One person claimed it was a scam. No billboards, unknown funds, personal profit. They dragged a man for 2 years, using him as a villain whenever views dropped. In reality, all billboards went up. No money was missing. One donor who overpaid was refunded directly by the company. The real scam was a spectacle built around a non-scam. They didn't need fraud. They needed a storyline. Okay, 3. The fake FBI agent scandal. Contradiction. She wasn't law enforcement. She was funding fiction. A woman falsely claimed to be an FBI agent. She embedded herself in new YouTube channels, feeding false info. Creators never vetted her, but ran with it. She gave money to several creators to push misinformation. They isolated the only known witness, put her in a motel with her kids, had her panel hop to boost attention for their other scams. Eventually, the witness realized she was being used. They didn't protect the witness, they performed her. Okay, 4. Fabricated sightings, insurance, and abuse claims. Contradiction. They didn't fund Summer, they found a storyline. Creators staged fake sightings to trigger live stream frenzies. Claimed Summer had life insurance. No proof surfaced. Said she'd never been to school or the doctor. False. Pushed a trafficking narrative that her parents abused and sold her. Staged fake searches, fake footprints, and dramatic accusations. Law enforcement repeatedly warned that social media speculation was harming the case. The footprint was fake. The outrage was real. Okay, 5. The fabricated evidence list. Contradiction. They didn't find evidence, they created it. Creators claim law enforcement removed the list from the Wells home. Said it proves the 8-year-old brother was involved. No such list was ever confirmed. No charges were filed. A child was framed for clicks. The list was fake. The damage was real. Each scandal follows a rain pattern. Fabricate a crisis, exploit emotion, monetize a spectacle, discard the truth. If you speak on a child, clean your platform first. Don't weaponize speculation. Don't create new victims in pursuit of views. Share facts, name, town, what happened, include numbers for real ticks. Don't exploit. Don't clickbait. Don't sensationalize. There are thousands of missing children, thousands of victims without justice. Go find the quiet cases, the ones no one's covering. Encouraging, hopeful. Give them a clean voice, give them a chance. A child's life isn't content, it isn't a brand, it isn't a ladder to views. Learn how to advocate in your own community, without spectacle, without ego, without harm. If you speak on a child, speak with care. If you cover a case, cover it clean. If you have a platform, use it to protect, not perform. Speculation is not advocacy. Drama is not justice. Clicks are not truth. There are thousands of children missing, thousands of victims unheard. They don't need a spectacle, they need a chance. Clean your platform, center the child, and if you truly care, go local, go real. We wish to stop the exploitation of crimes against children on all social media platforms. Our aim is to stop people creating content for the sole purpose of sensationalism and personal profit that exploits young victims of crime. Furthermore, in the chase for justice, these creators are also meddling and polluting the jury pools. There is extensive data that reflects the power social media plays on due process. We understand the importance of circulating the face of missing children to ensure members of the public will recognize them if they are spotted within the community. We appreciate this is the exact purpose of Amber Alerts. We also understand traditional media and social media are integral tools to be used in publicizing Amber Alerts with the goal of locating the missing. However, traditional media and now social media play an unsavory role in exploiting child victims and inflicting secondary victimization on their family members during what is unequivocally the very worst moment in their lives. The damage this causes is far-reaching and lasts many decades after the traumatic event, not only for the victims of crimes and their families, but also for the communities who pay for the wide range of public services that go toward investigating and solving the crime, as well as treating the lasting psychological aftermath and even punishing the perpetrator. While some of our concerns were neatly bundled in a Netflix docuseries in 2020 named Trial by Media, and also addressed in another docuseries in 2021 named Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, these documentaries only cover the media shenanigans involving adult victims. Our concerns extend to child victims, their families, and the financial strain placed on the communities where these crimes occur. In support of Summer Wells, her siblings, her parents, her neighbours, in the Kingsford community, we want to highlight the unnecessary and confounding issues that have been thrust on them by an unruly mob who is profiting from their pain, suffering, and ongoing search expenses. Ranging from thousands for false tips that waste the time, resources, and funding of law enforcement, to the defamation and slander of family members, to putting the siblings in danger by strangers sneaking around their property in efforts to generate social media content, ultimately causing them to be ripped away from their family, on top of the trauma of the child remaining missing. We do not believe that the provision of more information from law enforcement will curb any of this unruly behaviour. Our reform missions are: 1. To encourage law enforcement to enforce the law. State and federal legislators have given LE the tools to punish offenders of stalking, trespass, cybercrimes, obstruction of justice, and other citations that could contribute to curbing the above-mentioned unruly behaviour. These methods are employed in other countries with some degree of causative effect. All is required is for LE to actually enforce them. 2. To establish a code of ethics applicable to true crime content creators. There are no easily locatable internet resources for content creators to learn about ethical behaviour. They will govern their behaviour, or what is expected of them, in social media or community guidelines as it pertains to primary and secondary victimisation. Professional journalists have easily locatable codes of ethics that they're well versed with, the presence of which allows the public to call out unethical behaviour with some precision. 3. To encourage social media giants to include reporting tools for exploitation of children. Current reporting tools only address sexual exploitation and bullying of children. They do not address exploitation of victims of other crimes or primary and secondary victimization. Just as we protect religion and race/gender neutrality, we all need to protect the victims of crime, since the same social stigmas are attached to and perpetuate the same behaviors. To enlighten the public about social stigmas associated with victimization.